Welcome to O'Neill's Verbatim. Today's show is going to be on sensitive words, so this is going to be O'Neill's Verbatim Sensitive Words Part 1. I cannot stress this enough because I'm not trying to get my video taken down because sensitive people want to report it. So, if you are going to be offended, this is about the time where you get off the video. Just, save us both the time. I'm all for you, disagreeing with what I have to say, but I'm not looking for people to get offensive from the video when I'm trying to have a discussion on these sensitive words. I'm going to go ahead and say this is an educational video for discussional purposes, just so the people who want to get offended, it makes it a bit harder for Facebook, YouTube, stuff like that to get it taken down. So, there's that. So, this is your final chance if you're in public and I'm on speaker and people are going to get offended by me saying certain words. Either turn the volume down or crank it up if you're trying to piss off some people, or get off the video. Last time I'm going to say it. Alright, now that that's out of the way, welcome. Thanks for coming back to the second video. Today's topic is going to be on the words retard and the N-word. And this will be the only time that I refer to it as such. The rest of the video is going to be the variations of the word nigger and nigga. Alright, so I'm going to start off by saying I see these sensitive words like somebody chewing loudly or clicking a pen. By no means, if you're sitting over there clicking your pen nonstop, I shouldn't have a right to make you stop, because in reality you're doing no harm. Just because it annoys me personally, I wouldn't say that you're not allowed to. And so I extend the same belief towards certain words. Some of the words that will be in the sensitive word videos, I can admit that I do use. And some of them, I have no personal use. I just don't think they have a place in my vocabulary. So, if you disagree with me on any reasons why I feel fine using these words, if you want to point towards, you heard my view on it, give me why you still think it's wrong, that's what I'm aiming for. So first, what I plan to do is talking about why I would say, okay, don't use the words, why I would say, okay, use the words, and then I'm going to say my personal view on them. And obviously, just my opinion, I'd like to hear yours too. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share the video. I think that would help out a lot. Share it because if you like what I said, I'm sure at least one person that you know will like it. If you hate what I said, I'm sure at least one person you know will agree with you and hate it too. So, look, you're just spreading people who dislike me. Shit. All press is good press, I guess. Like a Logan Paul. Yeah, I would say low blow, but he kind of did it to himself. Alright, back to the topic. So, reasons why I don't think the sensitive words retard and nigger, or its variation nigga, though that is a friendly variation, why I don't think they have any place in language is because we have so many words to explain what we need to say, and those words hold a different type of power, mainly because society and people have decided to give them the power. Those words themselves just have a way of turning certain people's stomachs, and it's a conversation that nobody really wants to have. There's not really things that people want to hear. So it's like that pen clicking. Like, yeah, you can, and yeah, you have your freedom of speech too, but is it necessary? No. And I would argue if you're sitting there clicking a pen, knowing that it's making the people around you uncomfortable, well then yeah, you're a dick. Don't get me wrong, I will always say that you have your freedom of speech, you have every right to say whatever you want, but you also have to take the consequences of how people respond to how you present yourself and respond to what you say. So I'll defend your right to say it, but you might be a dick for saying it. I'm not going to say that you're not a dick if you're being a disgusting person with your language. If you're going out of your way to put others down, you're a scumbag, you're a dick. I don't know what to tell you. That's probably a personal issue. But you could say whatever you want whenever you want. So I guess that's my main that's the reason I don't use certain words, because there's certain people that, if people were to get offended, I firmly believe that's their problem. I'm the one who has the problem with the pen clicking. That's on me. But I also have that decision. If I've expressed this to you, and you know that I don't like the pen being clicked, and you still decide to do it in my company, well, that's on me too. So if you clicking that pen or you using that language bothers me to that extent, then I'll just remove myself from having that connection with you. If you can't respect me to that point, to where you're making me feel uncomfortable and you're consciously doing it, you're probably not the type of person that I want to, spend my time with anyway. So, do I agree with all the words being used? No, but I will defend anybody's right to use them. Now, I'll argue for it, and I'll say freedom of speech. I think if one person's allowed to say something, everybody's allowed to say something. And whether I agree with what you're saying, I'll never try to shut you up. Up to the point of harassment, obviously. And many sensitive words do delve into the topic of harassment. Just because I defend you saying the word nigger doesn't mean I defend you following an African American down the street yelling nigger at them. Those are two very different situations. And one of the reasons I'd say I wouldn't take it away at all, because, if I don't have a problem with some people saying it, I don't have a problem with any people saying it. I have friends who use the word nigger, and use the word nigga. Personally, I just don't have any reason to use it during my everyday vocabulary. I have found that I use the word nigga more when I'm drinking and around other black people, opposed to drinking and listening to country music with my white friends. And, just when I decide to use the word and where I like to click my pen, I suppose. One thing that I definitely wanted to cover in the video is when and why certain people feel that they can say the words. So, I'm going to take, for example, I'm going to start off with not a proverb, but a scenario. So, the proper term for the vertically challenged is little people. Now, if you were to see two little people walking down the street, and one called the other a midget, alright, there's no problem with that. They're both midgets. They're both in that group. So, it's fine for one little person to call another little person a midget, because, they could both technically, on paper, relate. if you saw two intellectually disabled people and they were in an argument or they were just kidding around and one intellectually disabled person called the other a retard, I don't really think that you're allowed to get upset for one intellectually disabled person calling another person a retard because, on paper, they're both in that in-group. It's like an inside joke, an inside thing. Because they're in that in-group and because the term could be presented to both of them in different, in the context, I think it's fine that they get to use the words. I don't think you get upset if an intellectually disabled person used the word retard. Now, if you saw someone walking down the street and then they walked up to someone who was intellectually disabled and called them a retard, and they were talking down to them for being a retard, or you saw a regular-sized person talking to a little person, calling them a midget and making fun of their height, those are two very different examples. And I guess it's just safe to say that because the intellectually disabled could be assumed under the retard vocabulary, like that in-group, that it's fine. But if you saw someone else doing it, you'd be like, that's not right. And I think in that sense is where it comes to black people saying the word nigger and saying the word nigga. Personally, I could say that when I hear the word, or when I say the word, I'm not thinking about taking the word back or taking the power back. And you know what? For some people, that might be their reason for saying it. To me, it's like saying a more inclusive version of the word dude or bro. Hey, what's up, my nigga? Like, hey, what's up, dude? It's just an inclusive thing that seems that the African American community, black people, have taken and kind of made their own. It's their inward, it's their inward in the same sense that midget would be an inward to little people. It's not, politically correct by any means, but it's a word that was once used to identify the people, and now they changed the meaning of it. They said, all right, instead of being offended by the word, we're going to use it, and we're going to, it's our word now. It's what we're going to call each other. It's, I guess in a sense, it's taking the power back. If that's how you want to look at it. Your perspective is reality, in all honesty. Society is the one who gives, the power to the words. Because the only reason fuck and shit and nigger and retard and midget are words that are looked down upon is because we say they are, because what some people intend to do with those words. So I believe if you're going to take it by a case-by-case basis, you have to look at the intention. Personally, I will admit to the usage of the word retard. Is it the most politically correct word? By means, no. But, I personally know that I would never even imagine looking at someone who's intellectually disabled and purposely putting them down or judging them for something that they were born with. I don't really think, and it's actually one of the things that the in-groups have in common. The words are words that take a judgment based on not a condition or a quality that they were born with. So, somebody being born intellectually disabled, someone being born African American, someone being born a little person. So, and I just don't think that you get to judge people for things that they don't have control over. Because it's not their fault. And at the end of the day, they're still human. But, I'll admit, I personally use the word retard. I would never use the word to verbally attack someone who is intellectually disabled, I think that's wrong. That makes you a scumbag. That makes you a terrible person. Personally, I use the word to describe able-minded people who decide not to use their brain. And, I'm not going to I'm not defending my uses of it. I'm just explaining where I'm coming from. I'm sure many people are going to disagree with my usage of the word retard. Sometimes I'll be driving and someone will cut me off, and I just sit there and I think, are you retarded? And what I really mean is, why aren't you using your brain? Because I look at it, if somebody was born without their legs and needed a wheelchair, then by all means, they need that wheelchair. And I wouldn't make fun of someone who was born with no legs for not having legs. But if somebody was born with 2 working legs and they were being lazy and deciding not to use their legs and they were lazing around in a wheelchair, then yeah, I'm probably going to talk shit about that person. If you're not using something that you're able to be using, personally, I, disagree with that, If you're purposely not using your brain, if you're not thinking things through, if you're able-minded and you're acting like you're not, then I think the word retard would cover you. I would never use the word retard to describe someone who is intellectually disabled. Now, one of the biggest ones that I want to talk about was the usage of nigger and nigga in songs. And I've noticed that there's many people, first of all, I'll be honest, a lot of black people don't think, white people, or I guess any other race for that matter, should say the word, either version of the word nigger or nigga. And one of the more common findings is, songs, rap. And I've actually had, a few friends who have admitted that they say the word when they're singing the song, but when they're around me, they won't, because they don't want to, they view it as an offensive word. And that's the only time I actually have a problem with it, because if you don't have a problem saying it by yourself, then you shouldn't have a problem saying it with me. But I take that as a personal type of integrity, and just kind of how you view yourself in how you view the world. If I'm comfortable with myself, I'm comfortable, with everybody. It's just how I am, and I expect people to be the same, even though I know people aren't. So if you're going to say the word nigga in a song, then I don't see why you wouldn't say it in front of me, unless you had some kind of guilty conscience, and that's something that you have to, that's a personal problem. That's something you have to, that means you have a problem with the word. Now, when it comes to rap music, I would argue that art is art, and, in music there's an artist. So take Lil Wayne, and as different as they are, I'm going to compare Lil Wayne to, really hope I'm not getting this wrong, Da Vinci? Or it might be Michelangelo, one of the painters. It's either, the Renaissance man, painting dicks on the chapel and making the statue of David with his dick hanging out. Now, we wouldn't change that art. We wouldn't go up just because, if I saw a dick and I was like, oh, dick, it bothers me. I want it covered up. I don't think that's fair to the artist. Just because it bothers me, I could just not look. So, if you don't like songs with the N-word or nigga in it, don't listen to it. But I would argue that if you're singing a song and the word nigga's in it, use the word, use nigga in the song, whether it's Kanye West or Lil Wayne, use the word nigga. It's in the song. So I would argue it's the way the artists make it, and to change it to make yourself feel more comfortable is kind of an insult to the artist, saying that the way they presented their art to you wasn't good enough for you, that you had to change it. And I can't remember what artist it was. I think it was like Kendrick Lamar or something. He brought a girl on the stage and had her singing one of his songs, and in his song, it had the word nigga in it, and when it came to the part and she said the word nigga, he publicly, like, shamed her. Like, dude, you put it in your song. If you didn't like the word, you didn't have to put it in there. You're the one who's spreading that word. It's your art. It's your message. So, what? You want to say the word, you want to spread it, but you don't want people to reproduce your art the way you've made it? Are you fine with them changing it? Are you fine with them taking power away from the word that you're supposedly giving power to? And, you know, I mean, obviously, I just kind of went on a rant, but it's something I'm passionate about. Like, just think, don't make people feel like shit if they're not, like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But that doesn't make the good intentions wrong. It just means that people fuck up sometimes. So, yeah, sometimes people say something offensively. Find out their intention. Ask them if they mean it that way. Yeah, if someone's calling you a nigger to talk down to you, then you probably have a problem. But if someone isn't going out of the way to be offensive, don't take it offensively, because that's your problem. If you have a problem with a word, it's your own personal problem. And you can't take that out on other people. I don't think that's the kind of message that we should be spreading, like, because it offends me, you don't get to use it. Like, I hope people could see where I'm coming from with my arguments. So, I guess to sum it up, use whatever words you want to use, but take responsibility and stand by the words that you use. Stand by your choices. Because if you're going to use a word like nigger or retard, you stand the chance of offending someone. And if they get offended, I agree. It's them who's getting offended. It's their problem. But there's also consequences for any of your actions. And if you're going to be someone who uses that vocabulary, you have to be ready to be recognized as someone who uses that vocabulary. You don't get to just call people assholes and get off scot-free. You don't get to make people feel bad or feel offended and get off scot-free. If you're going to click that pen and annoy your whole office and they don't want to be around you anymore, that's on you. Yeah, it's on them that they got offended, but it's also their right to choose not to be around you for being ignorant. I think that about sums it up for my video on, or my part 1 video on sensitive words. To kind of calm down and get less passionate. So, another thing I wanted to introduce is, so I did the tally again for this. This time it was sensitive words versus abortion. And abortions was up for, like, an option twice now. And because it lost twice, I'm just going to take it off. If it's not something you guys want to talk about, then fuck, I can keep my opinion to myself. Like, but, the way you would bring that back now is, for example, if I said, alright, the next video, your choices are apples and oranges. And you're like, yeah, I don't care about either of those. Leave a comment in the comment section on my Facebook posts, on my YouTube videos, anywhere, just wherever you find the video, I guess. Leave a comment about what you do want to see me talk about, and, you know, if there's enough of it, that's what I'll talk about. So if I miss something that you did want to hear me talk about, there's still hope for it. Just be persistent, and when I run out of shit to talk about, that's when that video is going to come. Or whenever you guys want it. I'm working with you guys here. If you guys are only going to get what you want at this point. I will say, it's obviously been a while since my last video. The speed at which I crank out videos are definitely going to be correlated by the amount of, like, likes and shares and stuff. I think that's fair. Meet me halfway. I'll make a video if you guys care about the video. If you guys don't, then I'm not going to waste my time sitting here talking to myself, I suppose. And I'm not looking for hundreds of thousands. I think the last video got 50 views. Personally, if I got 50 views, I would have liked maybe like 30 likes or 30 comments at the very least. Or 50 people telling me, hey, shut up, you're dumb. Hey, you're wrong for these reasons. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'm open to the conversation. I can't stress that enough. I got some backlash from my last video about gay marriage. Alright, I got people getting offended, and I got people who listened to what I said and then gave me their opinion. And honestly, it was only 2 to start off with as of this video, but I want to say thank you. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to point anyone out and whatever. But thank you to the people who did leave comments, respectfully. I'm happy that I was able to have the conversation with you, and I'm happy that I got to learn your opinion on it. I got some real insight on it, and I will cover, what I thought was interesting about it when I do my review videos on what you guys leave in comments and your opinions on stuff. So, I think that about sums it up for the end of my sum up. Obviously, I'm not the best at this, deal with me. This is more like an online video diary where I talk to myself. I've never been one to be in front of a camera, so this is interesting. But yeah, I hope I'm coming off as genuine, because that's what I'm trying to be. I want you guys to know that I'm being honest with you, and I want you guys to be honest with me. And by no means am I trying to be like the next generation's Martin Luther King or like any shit like that, but I'd like it if I could have conversations with people. I'm just trying to make a world that I like a little bit better. And that just starts with having a conversation and being open and having the decency to admit that sometimes you're wrong and sometimes we don't have to agree, and sometimes it's just nice to get stuff off your chest. Get your opinion out there. Like, have a voice. I think that's what a lot of people are missing nowadays, is having a voice. I don't really feel like enough people are comfortable being themselves. And I do think a lot of people are cowards now. They hide behind a screen and they could say mean, disgusting things, and they don't have to be held accountable for what they say, and they just get off on making other people miserable. And I guess to each their own. In my opinion, you're a scumbag. You can do what you want. Damn, this video is already a half hour. Thank you to anyone who's made it this far in the video. I'm happy that I was able to, entertain you for, like, genuinely. I'm happy that if you made it to this point in the video, thank you. I guess I won't know unless anyone says, but it feels good being able to talk and get these things out, and I really hope that this YouTube channel and these series will just, I guess, make me feel better. That's what I'm doing it for, I'll be honest. I like having my voice out there, and I like learning about what other people have to think, and I like telling people that they're right and that I agree with them. I like telling people that they're wrong. I like debates. I like verbal arguments. I'm doing this for me, and if you guys get something out of it, that's just a bonus. So, I'll stop talking before I get too far over a half hour. Cop just drove by. You could never know if they're gonna stop me to see if I OD'd on this road. Actually, I've had a few, stop me while I was doing other stuff, just chilling in my car. I'm like, hey, dude, you okay? Alright, yeah, sorry. See, I ramble a lot. I think that could, like, I'm like, all of this is going to be completely off script, and all of it's going to be raw. I cut, like, 5 seconds of me wiping my nose in the beginning and coughing and trying to get my volume right. Other than that, you got to deal with all this raw shit. Okay, so, yep, sorry, I know, a lot of talking. I'm just coming up with this right now, because like I said, this isn't premeditated. This is all off my head. I mean, I think about it while I'm in the shower, and I just try to find my logic in it. So the next topics is going to be either sensitive words part 2. So I want to keep doing sensitive words because, you know, the word retard and the word nigger are just some of, you know, the best known ones. Ooh. Got a little burp there. Well, there's some of the best known ones, and there are a shit ton of words that make people feel uncomfortable. So if you want my opinion on more sensitive words, I'll probably pick another 2 or another 3, depending on how many people want that video. So if you guys want more video on sensitive words, it'll be sensitive words part 2. I'll probably get more into what I mean by, you know, if you get offended, it's your problem. I'll get more into different words that I don't think should be used. I'll tell you the words that I personally don't use and words that I don't feel comfortable using. And, you know, I should tell you, like, words that I don't like, it's like, some words to me are like moist. I mean, I know some people have the problem with the word moist. It's like the same type of situation. Like, my mom doesn't like the word moist, so the only time I say it is when I want to get on her nerves. Like, so, you know, that's what some of these words are like to me. They're just words. You either give them power or you don't. So, yeah, first option, put in the comments. I'll probably do, like, a poll thing on Facebook again. Also, yeah, I know, like, a lot of YouTube people and a lot of, trust me, I'm not going to inflate my ego in the slightest. I'm sure as fuck not planning on getting, like, famous or recognition off this. But I know a lot of people like to keep their business life or, like, their YouTube life and, like, their private life separate. I say, fuck that, add me on Facebook. I shitpost and I have solid memes. And that's where a lot of my polls are. You could star me on Facebook, see my post first, comment on my shit, whatever. Just don't show up at my house and stare at me through the window. That's about all I ask. I like to sleep in peace. So yeah, first video option is sensitive words. Let's see, what would be a good topic for a second one? I think I'm going to take the second one as my